This is not just a smartphone. This is probably the most ridiculous, over-engineered, flex-heavy phone I have seen in a long time. Imagine pulling a phone out of your pocket that does not just open apps, it literally tries to run your life. That is exactly what the Vertu Agent Q is aiming to be, and honestly, it might be one of the most insane concepts in smartphones right now. But here is the real question. Is this actually the future, or just another ultra-luxury experiment that sounds cool, but does not really change how we use phones? Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and drop a like, because this one is definitely worth it. So first things first, this is Vertu. And if you know Vertu, you already know this is not about saving money. This is about status, craftsmanship, and exclusivity at a level that most smartphones do not even try to reach. We are talking about premium materials like handcrafted leather, sapphire glass, polished metals, and a design that feels more like a luxury watch than a typical phone. This is the kind of device that is built to stand out the moment you place it on a table. But here is where things take a completely different turn. The Agent Q is not just about how it looks, it is about how it works. Instead of the usual app-based system that we are all used to, this phone is built around something called AI agents. And this is not your typical assistant that just sets alarms or tells you the weather. This thing is designed to actually think in steps, understand what you want, and then execute tasks across different services without you having to jump between apps. So imagine this. You tell your phone to plan a business trip. A normal phone would maybe open a few apps and leave the rest to you. This phone is trying to go way further. It can look at your schedule, book flights, suggest hotels, organize your meetings, and even prepare documents, all through one command. It is basically trying to replace the way we interact with smartphones entirely. And honestly, that idea is both exciting and a little bit crazy. Because if it actually works smoothly, it could save a lot of time. But if it does not, then you are stuck with a very expensive phone that is trying too hard to be smart. That is the risk with something this ambitious. Now, performance-wise, this thing is no joke. You are getting top-tier hardware with a flagship-level chipset built on advanced architecture, paired with a massive amount of RAM and storage. So whether you are multitasking, gaming, or running those AI features, everything should feel incredibly fast and smooth. This is not a luxury phone that sacrifices performance. It actually delivers on raw power as well. The display is also right where you would expect it to be. A high refresh rate AMOLED panel that looks sharp, smooth, and vibrant. Scrolling feels fluid, animations are clean, and everything just feels premium. Combine that with a large battery and fast charging, and you have a phone that can easily handle a full day of heavy usage without stress. Now let's talk about the camera, because this is where things get even more interesting. On paper, you have a powerful triple camera setup with high-resolution sensors across the board. But the real highlight is the mechanical zoom system. And this is something we do not really see anymore. Instead of relying purely on digital zoom or software tricks, this phone actually uses physical movement in the lens to achieve zoom, which is a very different approach compared to most modern smartphones. And then you add AI on top of that. You can literally edit photos using voice commands, generate creative outputs, and even transform images into different types of content. It is like the camera is not just for capturing moments anymore. It is for creating entirely new ones. Another big focus here is privacy and security. Vertu is pushing heavily on keeping data on the device itself rather than sending everything to the cloud. That means your personal information, your conversations, your data, all stay protected within the phone. There are multiple layers of security, isolated systems, and dedicated protection features that make this feel more like a secure device for high-level users rather than a regular consumer phone. And of course, it would not be a Vertu phone without that signature concierge experience. But now it is not just human support, it is combined with AI. So you have both automated assistance and real human help available whenever you need it, which is something you almost never see in modern smartphones. Quick break. If you are still watching and you are into this kind of deep dive tech content, make sure you like the video and subscribe because more videos like this are coming. But let's get real for a second. Who is this phone actually for? Because this is not something that is trying to compete with mainstream flagships. This is targeting a very specific type of user. People who value time, convenience, privacy, and exclusivity more than just raw specs or price to performance ratio. For someone like that, a phone that can automate tasks, manage schedules, and reduce the need to constantly switch between apps could actually be a huge advantage. It is not just about having a phone, it is about having something that works for you in the background. At the same time, there is always that big question. Is this truly innovation, or is it just luxury branding mixed with experimental features? Because while the idea of AI agents sounds amazing, the real-world experience will decide everything. If it is smooth and reliable, this could be the beginning of a new way to use smartphones. But if it feels clunky or limited, then it becomes more of a concept than a practical tool. And that is what makes the Vertu Agent Q so fascinating. It is not playing it safe. It is trying to change the rules, moving away from apps and towards a system where you simply tell your phone what you want and it figures out the rest. So yeah, this is not a phone for everyone. It is bold, it is different, and honestly, it is a bit crazy. But at the same time, it might be showing us a glimpse of what the future of smartphones could look like if this direction actually works. Now I am curious, if money was not a problem, would you actually switch to something like this? Or would you still stick with a traditional flagship experience? Let me know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next one.